Hi, my name's Kate Pare. This is my first year joining the Under 100 art show, and I'm a woodworker. So I work with a lot of new and old wood. I use a lot of fence boards that have paint on them. Just kind of collect a bunch of material that has different textures and colors, and I use that to create different landscapes. So lots of mountains, lots of camping scenery, stuff that I enjoy to do in Alberta. So I've been working with wood for almost a year now. Last year, when work for my other job kind of slowed down, I ended up buying a table saw and kind of just was creative all winter and found out that I really like using this material to kind of show different landscapes. My table saw, it was like the one piece of equipment you need to buy in order to kind of scale up your whatever you want to create. Especially if you're using older wood that isn't kind of cut to shape, you can use your table saw to cut it down into planks. And from there, you can use smaller saws to cut out different shapes. So my dad is a woodworker. Growing up, he always had a bunch of fun tools that he would let us children play with careful supervision. When we were 12, we were making Harry Potter wands on a lathe. So I've just slowly learned different techniques and different tools that I can now use in my art. I get a lot of inspiration from the places I like to hike. So Hailing Peak, or different camping areas. I always take a lot of pictures and I'll use that as inspiration. I also do a lot of custom pieces, so a lot of people have a tie to a certain mountain range or a certain scenery, and they will often request an art piece of that specific area. I've dabbled here or there with watercolor and acrylic. I've never been super serious. I'll probably be bringing a couple acrylic pieces to the show. I like to add it to my pieces, so like the tents, I like to add color to those and stars in the sky, kind of to enhance the texture of the wood. So to create this piece, I first kind of look at all my wood scraps, because the mountains are just offcuts from some of my bigger pieces, and I lay them all out on the floor, try to match them up so that they make mountain shapes. And then I will bring that all over to my scroll saw, where I will cut out all like little finicky bits. It's how I also cut out all the trees and the tents. And from there, I use a rotary tool, and that's how I get all these grooves and shapes in my pieces and get all the round edges. And then I paint them and put them all together. And the last step is to build the frame, and then it really looks like a finished piece. I also do a lot of scroll saw work with my butterfly pieces. I'm starting to get into a little bit more detailed work with the chrysalis and the flowers. So to make this piece, it's a lot of scroll saw work, which has a very fine blade, and it kind of vibrates between two holders, and you kind of feed the wood in slowly through there. It lets you get really tight curves. So this is actually 3 different species of wood to make this piece. So I actually cut out 3 different separate pieces. So one for the walnut, one for the orange wood, and then one for the pine as well. And then I'm using a template, so I just try to stay on the lines as much as possible so that the pieces will fit together in the end. Often there's a little bit of sanding to have them fit together perfectly. It's a bit challenged with very thin pieces, like the letters here. I had to practice cutting those out quite a few times before I stopped snapping them in half, but I got the hang of it now.